What's up, Internet? My name is Attack Slug, and welcome to my Monday Night Raw reactions for the week of March the 28th, 2016. It is the last Raw before WrestleMania this weekend, and certainly I will have up my Mania predictions video this Friday or so, depending, but right now, my internet is down, so that's kind of a problem. But hopefully you are seeing this at 5 p.m., fingers crossed. Anyway, let's get started. We start the show with Undertaker and Shane McMahon having a promo off to begin with, and I feel like this particular feud here, when it started, could have been so much more well thought out and well defined, and it seems like it all kind of de-evolved to calling each other a bitch. That's kind of just the extent of this feud. It's kind of, I've lost interest, mostly. But the promo turned into a brawl, and we end up with Shane McMahon having his large leap from the top rope through the table, and that was impressive, but, you know, I guess they did that on Raw, because obviously at Hell in the Cell, the announce table is outside of the cell, so you can't do that spot at Mania. I get that. But, that being said, like, the possibility of Shane actually hurting himself, like, this close to Mania was very real, so that's kind of a little bit scary. Like, everyone should be taking it real easy, considering how many injuries are going on right now. Take it real easy going into Mania, do all your crazy shit at Mania. You get hurt then, fine, whatever, but, yeah, like, that was a little scary. Anyway, our first match of the evening here is this match. Chris Jericho versus Zack Ryder. Not a very long match, but shocking, because due to the distractions of AJ Styles on the microphone, making dumb chants, Zack Ryder rolls up Chris Jericho and gets a clean victory over Chris Jericho in 2016. That, like, legitimately surprising that he got that victory, but you can see why they would do that, to make everybody look, you know, important going into that 7-man ladder match. And we'll get to the other guys in that ladder match later in our program. But yeah, make them all look strong, for, you know, a better word there, going into that, so that, hey, anybody could win that match. I mean, realistically, it's going to be either Owens or Zayn, but anybody could win it. Anyway, next match was Charlotte versus Becky Lynch, which Charlotte wins that match. And I'm surprised they didn't put over Becky in this match, considering they put over Sasha over Charlotte in a non-title on SmackDown. You want to say, okay, well, all of these competitors could win on any given night, making that triple threat seem more, you know, that anybody could win it. But instead they had the winner be your current Divas champion, and the whole thing kind of felt like, hey, we're just reminding you this match is going to happen on Sunday. It kind of like didn't take this feud in any kind of a new direction, which you kind of want to have that, like, cliffhanger-y thing on that Raw before Mania. Kind of didn't get that, but nah, that's kind of hard to do when you got so many matches at WrestleMania, because it's like a, you know, a 6-hour show with the fucking pre-show. It's kind of hard to kind of get that all tied in your one 3-hour broadcast on Raw. Anyway, then you had Vince backstage talking to Renee Young, and then you had Shane and Vince backstage, and kind of furthering the same stuff that they've been doing with this. Nothing really new here or interesting. Then we had the Big Show and Kane tag teaming. Now, their last interaction on Raw last week was them fighting, and now they're tag teaming against the Social Outcasts. Not that it matters, because immediately the other Outcasts interfere, and then there's no match, and then, like, everybody else in the Battle Royal just comes out like it's the fucking Royal Rumble, like the show before that, the Raw before the Rumble, where everyone comes in, and like, they're all acting like it's a Battle Royal, even though it was a match that just ended on Raw that had no contest, and the whole thing seemed kind of stupid. You know, they chokeslam Mark Henry. There was a 4-man chokeslam with all the Outcasts, and then kind of the two most boring men in the world, the Big Show and Kane, kind of face off, and, like, nobody cares. Holy shit. Anyway, then, speaking of things that went on way too long, and the crowd could not care less about, Triple H comes out with Stephanie, and goes on this fucking, Rough Rider, goes on this promo forever and ever, and, like, there's no point even like recapping this promo, because if you've heard one Triple H promo, you've kind of heard them all, and he's done enough of them in his career that I don't even have to recap just what the hell he's talking about. However, there was one bit there where he's like, and Roman Reigns had the balls to come out here and run his mouth, and I'm like, you almost just said balls in his mouth. Like, you were that close to saying it. Be very careful, it's live TV. Anyway, I feel like the point of this whole segment was to get the crowd to eventually be like, okay, Triple H, just shut the fuck up. And then cheer for Roman Reigns when he obviously eventually interrupts his promo, which obviously he did eventually. And keeping in mind that they're in Brooklyn, right? You're not going to get a good reaction from Roman Reigns in Brooklyn, much like Chicago, much like Lion Salt, a lot of places. So the expectation that Triple H thought he could turn this crowd against him, a crowd that cheered the hell out of him at NXT Brooklyn, back in August, right? So, Roman Reigns' music hits, and it was like this immediate, like, the music hit, and the crowd popped for about a second and a half. It was like, yay! Oh, wait, Roman Reigns, boo. Like, it was an amazing thing to behold, that like, the music got him to pop just for that quarter second, and they went, oh, wait, we fucking hate Roman Reigns, boo! And then, they had a little thing going on, and whatever else, right? So, we'll get into more of that in a little bit. So, next match was Kofi Kingston versus Del Rio. And obviously you had all the New Day and all of the League of Nations at ringside. This was a fun match. As much as that particular match combination, say 3 years ago, of Kofi and Del Rio that you were so sick of, this was a fun match. There was enough interaction with the guys on the outside. There was enough cool stuff in the match that I actually enjoyed this match. And I'm hopeful, fingers crossed, that match at WrestleMania will hopefully be awesome. Like, those guys, they're all talented guys. So here's hoping that they do something cool at WrestleMania. So, after that, in which Kofi wins versus Del Rio, the New Day are back on the ramp, and then out comes Jonathan Coachman, the coach. Whoa, busted him open. And he is here to announce that SportsCenter, ESPN, will be at WrestleMania that whole day or whatever. So, hey, they're making that brand synergy happening and whatever else. And then Coachman decides to dance with the New Day, and it was just terrible. But, oh, hey, Zack Ryder wins just like in real life. How about that, bro? I would say that literally the only thing that I find potentially intriguing about Jonathan Coachman, the coach, being at WrestleMania is that we know that Coach and The Rock will be in the same building, and that could potentially be fun. Anyway, moving on, back to Roman Reigns in a backstage segment, was having a Renee Young interview, got interrupted by Bubba Ray Dudley. And look, I know Roman Reigns follows the typical face archetype. I know that is what his character is. He does face things. But at some point, you got to give your faces just a little bit of intelligence. Like, I know for a long time, guys like Sting just, as a face, did kind of the dumbest things. They were too trusting and whatever else. But holy shit, does this make Roman Reigns look stupid. Like, here's Bubba Ray taunting him. Just run and spear him. Run and punch him. Don't walk up and then be surprised when there's Devon Dudley. Like, don't, and then get attacked from behind by Triple H, and just the whole thing, like, could not be a more obvious trap. Just don't fall into the trap. Just, just run and hit people. Just, be a badass. That's all I'm saying. But I understand this is how the face works usually in this kind of scenario, is that they don't always do the smartest thing in the world, and this was definitely pretty fucking dumb. Like, if it was a singles guy, sure, fine, whatever. But Bubba Ray, with his one Dudley, there's probably going to be another one. Like, they're a tag team. It's kind of the whole point. Anyway, moving on. We had Kalisto versus Connor of the Ascension. Because you wanted to have a little guy fight a bigger guy. And I guess everybody else who was a bigger guy was too busy. And Kalisto wins, and kind of, whatever. And then out comes Ryback because of they're fighting on the pre-show, because there were like 4 matches on the fucking pre-show. And I feel like the only reason for this whole segment was to have that video package moment of Ryback and Kalisto in a ring face to face. I feel like that was the only reason to even have this match before Mania was, oh, we need that video package moment and we don't have it, so we gotta have them do this. Like that felt kind of dumb. Okay, so somewhere in this third hour was a Goldust R-Truth segment in the back. I don't know when. My notes, it's not clear at what point that happened, and honestly not that important, but Goldust still is a fantastic, like his character acting, his just reactions to stuff is just so good. Like, even when they're giving him the worst material, he is still just so goddamn good at his job. Anyway, then we get a Paul Heyman-Lesnar deal where they're out, talking their usual shit. Paul Heyman going on and on and on and on. And here comes Dean Ambrose with a red wagon, with his little Dean Ambrose logo painted on this red wagon. And then he comes ringside, goes under the ring, doesn't even look at Lesnar, just gets a bunch of fucking weapons, grabs the stairs, and then leaves. And on paper, that's good. On paper, that works. As teasing the eventual carnage at WrestleMania, that works. The problem here, the little bitty problem here, is that he came to the ring with an empty wagon. Which is to say, the barbed wire bat and the chainsaw were under the ring. Now, obviously, those were given to him by Foley and Terry Funk in the past 2 weeks. So why wouldn't those two things already be in the wagon? Why were they under the ring? Like, why would he have gone there earlier in the day to put them under the ring? Like, that makes no sense. And if there's one thing that I harp on more than anything else, just a little bit of logic would make things work so much better. If those were already in the wagon, it would work. He's just going to get more stuff from under the ring. That's fine. So, other than that little kind of, nitpick, that segment for me, it worked. So, I enjoyed that. Anyway, next match was Paige versus Emma. Hey guys! Emma's back. And, she's doing her NXT heel stuff, and this was like her first televised match since she stole that iPad case like a year ago or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, never mind that shit. We are setting up for your 5-on-5 Divas thing, and you feel bad for Paige and Emma because if you recall when they were in NXT having, like great matches, this is, a typical Divas Raw match for any of the Total Divas. Anyway, what it set up here was hilarious because, like the match doesn't really... Emma wins the match, I think, because of interference. And then, there all these Divas at ringside, hot tag, are fighting it out. And, there's 5 and then there's 4, right? So who's going to be the mystery 5th Diva on Team Total Divas? Surprise, surprise, who else is on that goddamn show? It's Eva Marie. And that, like, I don't know what reaction they wanted that crowd to have, but if you recall, the last time Eva Marie worked in that building, in the Barclays Center, back around, they had taped one of their NXTs in Brooklyn when they were there for TakeOver. That crowd does not like Eva Marie. So she comes out for the save, and they boo the shit out of her, as they should. And that was fun. But yeah, so it's Team Total Divas versus Team Bad and Blonde. Never mind that Naomi was totally on that show a couple of seasons back. Never mind that Summer Rae totally on that show a while back. Like, the team names make no fucking sense. Anyway, moving on. Your actual main event here was a 6-man tag with these 6 guys, which is the other guys who were in the ladder match for the IC belt at Mania. Match, I can't tell you much about the match. I know there was a thing where like, Owens was trying to be like a cheerleader for the other guys on his team, and like, they were trying to tell a story, but the crowd was having none of it. Now, keep in mind, they taped SmackDown before they taped Raw, right? So, obviously not a full SmackDown, because it never is this time of year. I don't think. Anyway, because obviously, after this Monday, they all go to Dallas. They're all leaving for Dallas for the rest of Mania week. So, by the third hour, by the main event of your, taping here, they've been fucking bored for, like, they've burned out, So, the crowd's chanting random shit. They're doing the wave. I heard a rumor that during the commercial breaks, the guys in the match were kind of playing it up and playing into it, but then being more serious when the match, like, you know, was back on TV. I'm sure that didn't help, but you know, if it kept the crowd awake, you know, that's, you know, something. You want to have a crowd, you know, not sit on their hands. So I'm glad they were doing something. But yeah, so the face team won here, and you know, it was kind of whatever. And it's unfortunate because, you know, all these guys I think are pretty good. So I'm hoping that their match at Mania is pretty good, and the crowd's not going to sit there and chant Byron Saxton. So we'll see. Anyway, the actual main event was Triple H and Steph coming out again to get interrupted by Roman Reigns again, and then a brawl, and then out come all the heels, and then out come all the faces, and then they're all fighting, and then Roman Reigns does his big dive over the top rope into a group of guys, and the crowd, to their credit, is chanting, "You still suck." So my only thing is that I hope they don't end Mania, like, if they're going to put Roman Reigns over for his 3rd title reign in the last 12 months, if you're going to put him over and have him win that belt from Triple H, make him look strong, like a million goddamn dollars, that match cannot end WrestleMania. It can't. It just can't. The crowd will just shit all over it. You can't have your show end, your biggest show of the year, ending with boos. Like, they have to know that, right? Anyway, I'll get more into that in my Mania predictions video, hopefully this Friday evening, so look forward to that. Anyway, I'm Attack Slug. Let me know what you thought about Monday Night Raw, and I'll see you next time, and every day on videos, right here on this channel, and I'm out!